Okay, I want to go over this thing before I explain what's on the test. This kind of takes us to the end of the standard. And it's stuff you've already done, but it's to avoid confusion and doing problems wrong and messing them up and so forth, okay? A basketball is thrown from a height of 6 feet with an initial vertical velocity of 40 feet per second. Find its maximum height. You are finding the maximum height. To find a maximum, you don't draw your little 3 boxes. That's not the graphic organizer you want to use. You want to make your parabola, label the top with an x and y coordinate. To find the x, it's opposite of b divided by 2 times a. It's like the sum, but the square root's not there. And then to find the y, you replace x on the calculator. So you need to write your equation. So first, this is gravity pulling the basketball back to the ground. Negative 16x squared is your gravity term. Don't forget that. You can't do stupid stuff like not put it to the second power or miss the negative. That's not going to work, okay? Then after that comes your velocity, your feet per second. And that's 40, so 40x. Now, where did this ball start from? It didn't start from the ground. It was shot from 6 feet up. So you got to add 6 before you equal y. Okay. All right, now I have my equation. It's in standard form because there are no parentheses. I have my a, I have my b. So the opposite of b is negative 40. And then I take 2 times a, so 2 times negative 16, and that's negative 32. And now I just divide negative 40 by negative 32. 1.25. Now, you also got to find y. Replace x on the calculator, okay? So you replace these x's with 1.25. So I've got negative 16 times 1.25, raise it to the second power, plus 40, parentheses 1.25, plus 6, okay, 31. Okay, so the max, by the way, here's what this means. X is time, that's seconds. Y is feet. 31 feet was the maximum height. That's what you should do at a maximum, but that's not the same on every problem. Like on the next one. A basketball is thrown in the air from a height of 6 feet with an initial velocity of 40 feet per second. Find the ball's height after 2 seconds. So you're finding the feet, but not the maximum. So you want to use your graphic organizer with 3 boxes. You want that third one to be pretty big because it's a parabola. You can tell just by reading it what the basketball does. So I've got feet and seconds. So x is seconds, y is feet. And then it's feet per second. Well, the feet per second's 40. Okay, nice. Now you have a parabola. Don't put 0 down there because sometimes now the problems it's not going to wind up at 0. Just don't put anything. Okay, don't put any letters, any numbers. Just know it's a parabola. So you have to know how to write your own equation. Okay, you can't be putting numbers and letters on here like you can with a line, like you can with a curve. Okay. You got to know how to write the equation. This is, again, gravity. So gravity is negative 16x to the second power. The feet per second is 40, so 40x. Where did this ball start from? It started from 6 feet. That's where they threw it from. So you need to add 6 and then equal it out to y. So there's the equation, okay? Now, your last number is 2 seconds. That needs to go in the equation somewhere, but it's 2 seconds. What letter is seconds? I think it's X. So go find your x's here and here and put 2's in for them. Now we're going to want to put parentheses around them and just replace those with 2's. So negative 16, 2 to the second, plus 40, parentheses 2, plus 6 equals y. Now, what variable do I have left? I still have y, okay? Well, it's to the first power, so there's only one answer. And better yet, the letter's by itself. So if it's by itself, just circle this and we plug it into the calculator. So I love that. I love numbers where we plug I love parabola, the gravity equation, where they give us an x value, plug it in. It's really easy. I don't have to waste time drawing these stupid boxes, okay? So negative 16 times 2 to the second power plus 40, parentheses 2, plus 6. Okay, that's 22. That's your answer. That's your feet, 22. Because very nice when you're given an x value because you can replace them and the y is by itself, so it's just plug into the calculator. Now, the next one ain't going to be that easy. Basketball is thrown into the air from a height of 6 feet with a velocity of 40 feet per second. How many seconds? Find how many seconds it takes a ball to get to 20 feet in the air. So you're finding the... Sorry, this shouldn't say feet. Okay, that should say seconds. And I think yours does. Okay. So, you're just finding a 1 unit, not a maximum, just somewhere. So we better make our 3 boxes. Okay, I've got feet and seconds. X is seconds, Y is feet. So per, feet per second. I know the feet per second's 40. It's a parabola. So I need to write an equation that represents the parabola. You just got to know how to write it. Gravity. Like sometimes about gravity. Other times about revenue. Gravity, negative 16x to the second power. And then how fast it was traveling, 40 feet per second, so 40x, that's the acceleration. Where was the basketball thrown from? It was thrown from 6 feet, so before I write equals, I have to add a 6 and then equal y. Okay, now what's my final value? 20 feet. 20 feet is y. Okay, so it's going in for the y variable this time, and that's not good, okay? Because I still have x, and x is to the second power, meaning there are 2 answers. So I have x to the second. Now, do I have x to the first? I do. Gosh darn it. I have to do the factoring stuff with the boxes. But before I make the boxes with factoring, you have to get it, clear this 20, so because you need a 0. So minus 20, minus 20. So I have negative 16x to the second power, plus 40x. 6 minus 20 is negative 14 equals 0. Okay, so there's 3 terms, and that would be greatest common factor, and then the t-chart. Set it up like that. GCF, do I have a negative in front? Yup. You got x on everything? No, sir. Now let's check out what the GCF calculator has going on with 16, 40, and 14. I got 2, so negative. And by the way, even if it was 1, I'd still have to do it because it would have been negative 1. So negative 2, negative 2, negative 2. So that's positive 8 with x to the second. Now I'm dividing, that's 20, but since I'm divided by a negative, it turns it to minus 20. That's 7, but it'll turn it to plus 7. Okay, not the worst t-chart in the world, but it could be better. A times C, I take positive 8 times 7. Okay, positive 56, sum of 20. Nope. That's 30. 3 is a decimal. 4 and 14, that's 18, so there's no way I'm going to get back up to 20. That's a fail. So you set up your quadratic formula. Opposite, and with these three, circle that. Opposite of B, opposite of B, so it'd be positive 20. Plus or minus the square root, B squared minus 4AC. B squared minus 4AC, so we put a 4 there. And B is negative 20. And then A is 8. C is 7. And then A, 2 times 8. Okay? All right, so what do I have? Well, I have 20 plus or minus, and 2 times 8 is 16 on bottom. And we need to figure out that square root. Now, there is a way to do it on the calculator and get your number there, but not everybody has that good a calculator. Okay, so I'm going to do this. So I'm going to take negative 20 times itself. And then I'm going to take 4 times 8 times 7. So this gives me 400 positive, and after that I write minus all the time. And then I find the product of 4, 8, and 7. Okay, that's 224. That gives me 176. So I need to find the square root of 176. 13.27. Okay. Again, there's a way to figure this out. You go second, square root, double the parentheses, negative 20, close it, take it to the second power, minus 4, 8, and 7. Boom, same thing. So I take 20 plus 13.27, hit equals, and then divide by 16. Okay, 2.07, 2.08, round to the nearest hundredth. And then 20 minus 13.27, and then divide by 16, and that's 0.42. Now, you're like, they're both positive. I know they are, so they're both answers. Okay, next problem. A football is punted from a height of 3 feet above the ground with initial velocity of 45 feet per second. Find the ball's maximum height. Okay, it's a maximum, so I use a different graphic organizer for that. Opposite of B divided by 2 times A. And to find the Y, we replace X on our calculator. Okay, so write your equation. Gravity is negative 16x to the second power, plus the acceleration speed, 45 feet per second, so 45x. And where was it launched from? 3 feet, so plus 3 equals y. Okay. Now, you got your A, you got your B. You don't need to multiply out with the 1, 2. Okay. Opposite of B is negative 45, and then I find the product of 2 and negative 16. So negative 45 over negative 32 divided. Okay, I got 1.4. Okay, now to find y, we replace the x on the calculator with 1.4. Okay. So negative 16 times 1.4 to the second power plus 45 times 1.4 plus 3. Okay, I got 34.64. You just go 35 if you want. Now remember, this is the time unit. That's seconds. This is feet. Okay? The feet is what they want. Okay, next one. A football is punted from a height of 3 feet above the ground with an initial velocity of 45 feet per second. Find how many seconds it takes a football to reach a height of 25 feet. So it's just finding seconds, not a maximum. So I've got feet and seconds. X is seconds, Y is feet. Okay, and the feet per second acceleration rate is 45. It's a parabola. Don't worry about putting numbers and variables on it. You got to know how to write the equation. What's it about? It's about gravity. Negative 16x to the second power plus 45x. Where was this launched from? 3 equals y. Now the final value in the problem here is 25 feet. Take your y out and put 25 in. Now, well, that leaves me with x. Well, it's to the second power, so there's 2 answers. Okay. So do I have another kind of x to a power? Yeah, x is the first power. Gosh darn it, that's bad news. Then I got a factor. I'm going to have to make those stupid boxes. Before we do that, you got to clear the 25, because before we make the boxes, our plan, you need to have a 0. Okay, so negative 16x to the second power plus 45x, and 3 minus 25 is negative 22. And that's, again, 3 terms. So it would be the greatest common factor. And my t-chart. GCF, you got the negative in front. Do you have x on everything? No. So let's see what the calculator says. 16, 45, and 22 can do. Okay, 1. Now, you can't cross a box out, though, because it's negative 1. So you have to do that. So that all it does is keeps the numbers the same, but they all go opposite. 16x squared minus 45x plus 22. Okay, A times C, 16 times 22. 352. Guys, if you get a number in the hundreds on the T-chart, just write fail and go to the song, okay? So, this is where my numbers come from. Opposite of B, opposite of B, so 45. Plus or minus the square root, B squared minus 4AC. So, set up your parentheses. So B, negative 45, 4, A is 16, and C is 22. Okay, and on the bottom I've got 2 and 16. Okay, I pretty much got this puppy whipped if I can figure out my square root, because I got 45 plus or minus, and I have no idea what I'm going to plus or minus. And then 2 times 16 is 32. Now you can plug that into your calculator if you remember how. If you don't, you better use what I'm doing over here. Negative 45 times itself. That's what a second power is. And then 4 times 16 times 22. Okay, so take those negatives times each other. So it's 2025. Minus, then 4 times 16 times 22, 1,408. This ends up being 617, and I find the square root of that. Okay, 24.8, why don't you just put 25, close enough, okay? Again, if you just want to do this, square root, double the parentheses, negative 45 to the second power, minus 4, 16, 22. Got the same darn thing. So I take 45 plus 25, click equals, divide by 32. 2.19. That's a good answer. 2.19 seconds. 45 minus 25 is 20, and divide by 32 is 0.63. Now they're both positive, so we want to write both those over there. Again, the reason you got two positives is because the ball went up, because it's 25 feet on the way up, and it's 25 feet on the way down. So the lesser number of seconds is the way up, that's the way down. Okay, so unfortunately when that goes in for y, you got to do all the boxes and crap, okay? Because you'll have x left, it's to the second power, and there's an x to the first also. Get the boxes. Okay, and then my last problem. A football is punted from a height of 3 feet above the ground with an initial velocity of 45 feet per second. How high is the ball after 1.5 seconds? So feet. Again, not a max, so we're going to want to organize it like this. Okay, so feet, important unit, and so is the seconds. So the x is defined by, seconds are defined by x, that's defined by y. So per feet per second. Feet per second is 45 again. Parabola. Gravity. Gravity is negative 16x squared plus 45x. Now where was it launched from? 3 feet. You don't put equals till you put where it was launched from. Now if it wasn't launched, if it was kicked from the ground, then I'd put equals, but again, equals y. Okay, what's the final value in the problem? 1.5 seconds. Well, seconds is x, dude. Here are my x's. We should probably put them in parentheses to separate the 1.5. And now plug them in. Okay, what letter's left? Y. It's not to the second power, so it's only one answer. And better yet, it's all by itself. When it's all by itself, that says solve me. Okay? So I mean, plug that into your calculator and solve for that poor man. Negative 16, parentheses 1.5 to the second power, plus 45 times 1.5, plus 3. Okay, 34.5. 35 is good enough. And 35 feet your answer. Okay, you got 3 problems, but you're doing different. You're doing each one differently.